Hello, we're in the Oude Kerk today with Henk Ebes for this spectacular Emily show. A lot of you probably don't know who Emily is, but if you come to the show, you certainly will. Henk, maybe you could tell me, first of all, a little bit about the history of Aboriginal art.
Aboriginal art goes back 30-odd thousand years. We're not exactly how far because it's very difficult to date. Aboriginal art as we know it today as contemporary modern art goes back to 1971. A school teacher called Jeff Barden, who was working at Papanya at one of the schools in one of the Aboriginal communities in the central desert of Australia, asked the old Aboriginal men to paint their original body patterns, the patterns that indicate their authority. Compare that with a KLM pilot with 4 stripes versus the co-pilot who has 3 stripes, or the body paint on an old lady in Marken or in Volendam. If you know the body paint, you can identify their status, their age, their marriage, and so on. So Aboriginal people had the same thing. They were naked because it was nice and warm, and they painted patterns on their bodies, and that identified the people as being lawmen, as being the people responsible for the bushfires, for food sources, and so on. The women did the same thing. They painted their bodies with patterns of plants, of gathering, of all the stuff that you needed to know to live in harmony with nature. And Emily, being one of the oldest Aboriginal women alive at age 86 when she died 3 years ago, had an enormous amount of information that she was allowed to paint on her body and on the bodies of her friends. Fortunately, in 1989, a number of art dealers gave her canvas and acrylic paints, and the end result is absolutely spectacular. As spectacular as the career of Vincent van Gogh, which was 10 years, as spectacular as those of Renoir and Rothko. And Aboriginal art as an antiquity, of course, can be compared with the oldest images in the world. Archaeologically, they're ethnographic images on caves and so on. But the sand and the body paintings, they disappeared very rapidly after they were produced. Now, of course, we have them on movable surfaces. And here in the Oude Kerk in Amsterdam, which is 750 years old, we are exhibiting art that is basically 30,000 years old. At least the pedigree is 30,000 years. But it is modern art. It is produced with acrylic paints on Belgian linen, canvas. And it has a very modern flavor. When you look at it first, you'll think this is pure modern art. And it has even been compared with people like Rothko, Jackson Pollock, Gunther Ferg, Sol LeWitt. You name it, she's been compared with some modern European master, which is a great compliment, but it's only the visual image that is comparable. Emily has never been to a museum in her life. She was physically living in the desert, 285 miles from the nearest petrol station, Alice Springs, and had never been to a museum and painted her story. Yet she paints it in such an artistic manner that when you see him on canvas hanging on the wall of the most modern museums in the world, you realize that she has built a bridge between Aboriginal art, which is little dots and lines, which then become shape, and contemporary modern art as we know it from the Stedelijk Museum or, the Musée des Beaux-Arts in Paris.